When we speak of teams, we know that there are many ramifications to this breaking news. So let's bring in CBS MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, any reaction from the business and the tech world to this?
Yeah, so Reed, my brain immediately goes to all of the cases that the Department of Justice has been bringing against big tech. Of course, we had that big ruling against Google where they won that saying that it has a monopoly on search. We got some recommendations from the DOJ yesterday, including pushing Chrome off, having to sell that off. They have a number of other cases against Apple. And so when you had Gaetz as the pick, you had a sense of, okay, this person has been very anti-big tech in the past, very pro-enforcing antitrust regulations. And so now that this is up in the air, I think the big question when it comes to how the DOJ would impact the business world, are you going to get someone from this new Trump administration that will be as hard on the big tech space? Now, of course, many of his picks in the cabinet thus far give the impression that that would be the trend. And of course, President-elect Trump has said many times in the past, so that this space does need to be more regulated. But yeah, Reed, that's sort of the question, who comes in? And then especially as artificial intelligence becomes increasingly more important and advances, the DOJ will be taking on those questions as well, and whoever runs it next, Reed.
Well, no doubt, and this goes without saying, big tech also has voices in the halls of Congress by way of lobbyists here. Do you think this will be seen by big tech, by their lobbyists, as sort of an in the game where they can grab and run the ball and try to get a second voice here for whoever is yet to come?
I think it's a possibility. I mean, certainly President-elect Trump has had many voices in the business world around him, Elon Musk being one. Certainly, he has interest in this space. But like I said, based on the other picks that we have seen from the president-elect thus far, it really does seem to be a bipartisan push, not just on the Republican side, but on the Democratic side for going against big tech here. So I would expect someone similar to Gaetz in terms of that perspective going after the big tech businesses.
Well, and we know the Trump administration incoming has used that phrase all the time, over and over. Day one, day one, day one. From a tech perspective, which of those issues in the tech world that Matt Gaetz would have confronted on day one do you think still remain day one issues?
I think it's really this question of monopolies. There's a question around, does Amazon have a monopoly, against some of these, whether in the online marketplace, Apple as well is a big one. So I think the day one question is still the same, but I will highlight, Reed, and I think this is an important point. President-elect Trump has said in the past that he thinks that Google should be broken up. Of course, that's one of the questions that is very much in the news this week based on the DOJ's current recommendations. He also walked those comments back and said, well, maybe there's a better result, that Google shouldn't be broken up because we do need a very strong tech force in this country to go against anything that China has. So I think it's still going to be a day one question, but clearly his mind is not fully made up. So when we see who the next nominee for Attorney General will be, I think that will become a little bit more clear, Reed.
Kelly O'Grady, CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent, proving our point that on CBS News 24/7, we are at the ready 24/7 when news breaks. And that breaking news, Matt Gaetz withdrawing from Attorney General consideration.